everyone. I'm incontinent, in case you didn't know. You probably did. You know, given the title of this video. People keep asking me about my incontinence, so I decided to just make it into a video. Now, please, if you want to know details or you have any questions, leave them in the comments. You can leave them in the comments here, or you can leave them in some comment or tweet at me or something. Just don't barge into my DMs with questions about my incontinence, especially when it has details, and it's a little creepy. It makes me feel a little uncomfortable, and frankly, it's a little rude. But I'm going to answer a lot of the creepy questions I've been getting in my DMs lately. All in one go, so I don't have to repeat them. Now, I don't know what's going on with my bladder. I really don't. I'm still going through some research, and I'm still having tests done to try to figure out what's causing it, so I can't really tell you what's going on, but I can explain my symptoms. Now, I've been dealing with some kind of incontinence for years, over a decade, in fact. Like, I can remember being around 9 or 10 years old, and I had tiny wet spots in my crotch. My mom told me that I needed to do some exercises because if I was this bad then, how would I be after giving birth? Because apparently that's when it goes bad. I wouldn't know from personal experience. But, so I was supposed to do, like, Kegels, and I was supposed to start peeing and then try to stop in the middle. And I was also supposed to do these weird exercises when you lie on your back, and you have these muscles, like, somewhere in between, like, under your hip bones, like, on the bottom. It's weird. I don't really remember. It was like 10 years ago. But I was supposed to practice tightening them, and it's really weird. It was kind of like learning how to use muscles that you usually don't. So it was kind of like learning how to flare out your nostrils or move your ears, because these are muscles that you usually don't use by themselves. You only use them when you're doing other stuff, and they just kind of clench with them. But I started to do these exercises, and they pretty much did nothing. Other than now I can sometimes start and stop and start and stop when I pee, which is a pretty useless talent. But, yeah. I've always had, we used to call it a party bladder. It's just, it meant that I can hold in a lot, and I don't have to pee a lot. So I would, need to go to pee, and I wouldn't usually really feel the need, but when I did, I could easily forget about it and then just hold it in for like a really insane amount of time. Like, I would realize that I needed to pee when I was in class, and then I'd be like, oh, I'll just go during the break, and then I'd forget about it. And then during the break, I'd be out smoking, and I'd be like, oh, I'll just go when I get inside. and then I'll forget about it and go to class. And I would just realize like, oh, I'll go at lunch, and then I want to finish my meal first, and then all of my friends were gonna go out to smoke, and I didn't want to miss and have to smoke alone, so I'd want to wait until I got back inside, and that would continue basically until I was on the bus on the way home, and I realized that I didn't have access to a bathroom for like an hour and a half, and then I forgot about it before I got home, and I was watching TV, and I'd want to wait until the show was over, or went to commercials, even though I was watching a show where I could have just pressed pause. Basically, I was lazy, so I got away with it, and I wouldn't actually go unless I was like going to the bathroom with a bunch of friends, or one friend, and we had to talk about something, teenage drama, or if I really, really had to. I was actually talking to my mom about this whole process, the research, my problems, and she just reminded me that she was recently thinking about, after I mentioned my issues, she started thinking, and there was one incident where we actually had a road trip to see my brother's soccer match, and we started going at around, we started going before noon, and the trip should have taken about 7 hours with stops along the way, but we had really bad weather, so it took a lot longer than that, and it didn't really help that it was super windy. I actually did the math, and if the swift, the swifts of wind, or whatever they're called in English, I can't remember right now, brain fog, if they would have been consistent, it would have classified as a level 5 hurricane. So, yeah. And they were coming down the sides of a mountain. So we were going really slow, and at one point we actually saw a sign that had these letters, they had the stats. It was a digital sign, and it had how strong the wind was and how swift the swifts of wind were. And they were so insane. I remember I actually took my phone and I filmed the clouds because they were moving so fast. Just regular clouds, basically. And it was pretty much in the middle of the night. So we turned back and went to this police station at this tiny ass town in the middle of nowhere. And we talked to the men in there, and we needed to know, is it safe? Because we had this tiny foldable camper thing, and it could have easily dragged us down, and down the side of a mountain. And the only thing the guy could say was oh, if you get dragged down, you should try to steer the car down the mountain. That's all the advice I'm gonna give you. Yeah, go ahead. And we were kind of freaking out, just contemplating should we go or should we not go, because it seemed really scary. And we've been in a fair amount of car accidents, mostly when my mom was driving, so it wasn't very encouraging. But then we finally realized, is there, to ask, is there another way? And it took him a while, because he started off being no, there's no other way. And then he was oh, wait, there is this one path where truckers go. like trekkers take this path, and it's like it's around the mountain, not like at the around the side of it. So we actually decided we actually stood there like trying to study this gigantic map on the wall that he was showing us, and I took my mom's phone and I was taking like so many pictures just so that we could have pictures of the map and try to figure out how we can go in the right direction. And then he's like, wait, you're taking, like, you have a smartphone, you're taking the pictures of a smartphone, do you even know what Google Maps is? Then he explained to us what Google Maps was, and then he explained to us how it worked. And it was like this shittiest gravel road, and the weather was terrible, and the road was awful, and we were driving at like 20 kilometers per hour, and we drove for hours. And eventually we were about like an hour away from the road. No, we weren't an hour away from the town where my brother was having his match, and he was already there with his team. And my mom was like, okay, I'm too tired. We have to stop right now. We're going to sleep in the car. And we go to this parking lot outside like a road stop restaurant. And my mom went in to get some stuff, but I was lazy and I stayed in the car. And then we just went to sleep in the car. And when we woke up in the morning, the restaurant was closed. So my mom actually had to go like behind the restaurant to pee. And I just waited in the car because I was not getting out. It was cold. There was no bathroom. I'd have to pee on the ground. I just stayed in the car. And when we got to town, the match was like almost starting. So we had to hurry up. And we had to like we went straight to the match, and it was like outside. It was not an indoor match. It was actually raining. It was bad. But we watched it, and we found my brother, and he went off with his team. And we set up the tent and stuff, and I'm pretty sure I actually went to the bathroom when we got to the tent. But the story is, I didn't pee for over 24 hours. Now, this probably happened a lot. It's just because I remember this special incident. Well, my mom remembered it, where I didn't actually have access or go to a bathroom for over 24 hours. So, yeah. And my bladder actually expanded, or I don't know if expanded is the right word here. It might have always been this big. I wouldn't know. But, you know, a normal bladder capacity before a void or, no, you have to pee, is around 200 through 450 milliliters. Mine actually went up to over 700 milliliters, not 7,000. It's not that big, but over 700 milliliters, which is actually more than double what it should be. And after, no, I actually started wearing pull-ups for my periods a long time ago. I always had like very heavy periods, and pull-ups just worked so much better than maxi pads. Like, I would sleep in them, and I would eventually wear them to finals exams, because I've always been nervous about being at a finals exam and having to pee ever since I went to a finals exam with a UTI. Which reminds me, I've had a lot of problems with UTIs over the years. I think I remember I got them a lot when I was like a kid, like young, like kindergarten age, and my mom always like chalked it up to like, oh, it's cold outside, you shouldn't like have your hair wet when it's cold outside and stuff like that, which, by the way, is not the reason I got UTIs, just to be clear. UTIs actually not, yeah. Anyway, at one point when I was younger, I would get them very often. Well, actually, recently, I got them 6 or 7 times over the course of 12 months. And that definitely doesn't help. My incontinence is actually different during those times because I drink a lot of water. If I don't drink a lot of water, I will get a UTI. Like, I will get a UTI. So when I get a UTI, like, I've actually learned that the more water you drink, the less it hurts and the less you need to pee. It's very weird, but that is how it works. So if you get a UTI, chug water. Just chug it. Obviously go to a doctor too, but chug water. So, like, when I get a UTI, I will constantly have to pee. And this is where diapers come in, because I don't technically need them. Like, I don't have accidents, like, on accident, but I will need to use the bathroom every 5 minutes, and I mean that literally. Like, it would be easier for me to just sit on the bathroom for hours. So I also don't change after every wedding then, like, which is something that you're kind of supposed to do according to the people that I've talked to, like actual experts, not just people on the internet. But I would not have time in between. I leak constantly. It's a constant flow, and it's actually a constant heavy flow. Like, it's not, like, I will leak constantly, and I would still have to change an M4 after an hour. The theoretical capacity of an M4 is over 6,000 milliliters. So the practical capacity can be anywhere between 1 and 2,000 milliliters. I would... Okay, my boyfriend just woke up. Yeah, it is almost 9 a.m. now, and I have yet not gone to sleep. Anyway, so the practical capacity will be around 1 and 2,000 milliliters, and I would still have to change every hour. Maybe 2 hours if it's like late in the day or I haven't been drinking a lot recently. But that is where I make these monstrosities, so that they will last me for like 3-4 hours. Yeah, they're a lot better when you need this much protection. Yeah, when I have a UTI, I would easily drink like 2 gallons of liquid in a day. Yeah, I have gone very much off topic. Where was I? Right, yeah, I started wearing pull-ups to my finals exams. And, well, okay, wow. this completely took my mind off it. Anyway, yes, I actually started getting into like the ABDL online community. I'd only been, exploring stuff by myself with a partner, doing some research, but I hadn't really been in the community or anything. And I liked the onesies and I loved the pacifiers and all the stuff that were related. So my thought was maybe I would like diapers too. I don't know, maybe I would. I thought it was worth a try. Because, half of ABDL is DL, and that involves diapers. So I decided to try it out, and I bought a sample pack online, and I tried it, and at first it was a little weird. It felt a little uncomfortable. I mean, it doesn't matter how good the wicking action is and the stay dry layer and all that stuff really is, you still feel, it doesn't necessarily feel wet or moist or anything, but you definitely feel a little humidity around your groinal area. So it took a little to get used to it, but once I had tried it, there was no going back. Like, I did not realize how much my incontinence was affecting my life until I didn't have to deal with it anymore. It's kind of like when there's like this steady noise in a room and you don't realize how loud or irritating it was until it's gone. And what's left is like this comfortable silence. So it was a huge load off my shoulders. Like it was life-changing. It changed my life because like I thought it would be embarrassing and it would take guts to wear it, and it did. But it has saved me from more embarrassment than it has caused. And when I realized that this was making my life so much better, I realized that I really had a problem, and it was time to talk to a doctor about it. And let's face it, diapers are expensive, so a discount does really help if you can get that through medical insurance. I could get that now for a year because I'm still going through research and we don't know what's going on. But once I figure out what it is, there is no guarantee that they will subsidize it for my condition in particular. But I would, like, there might be a treatment. Anyway, like, if you are suffering, you need to talk to a doctor. It took me over a decade. And, like, trust me, I wished I would have done it sooner. I wish I would have done it so much sooner. It has really helped. You need to do what is the best for you, and you know who's the best at helping you? People who are educated about your problem. People who have experience in treating your problem. You know, that's basically my 2 cents on the issue. Anyway, that's my story. At least you know what I know about my story so far. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, support me on Patreon. I never know what to say at the end of these things. Teddy says bye.